When it comes to meta ad scaling, I actually have two types of meta ad scaling strategy. One is, vertical scaling, and the other one is horizontal scaling. Now, this is really something that is really quite common, but a lot of people, when you don't understand the kind of like the application, you kind of find it very confusing. Now, first thing first, I want to talk about the vertical scaling. Vertical scaling means when you are building a campaign, you want to make sure that you keep all the learning within the same campaign and same ad set. So let's say, for example, if you are building an Advantage Plus sales campaign, it's doing well, okay? What most people do is when they try to scale, right? They kind of like, oh, this is already working. I see this ad working and I want to kind of duplicate it into whatever new campaign and have a CBO or whatever and start scaling it. Usually this is where you break the whole thing. Because remember, when you break it up and duplicate it into a new campaign, you actually let go the initial learning that you have accumulated in the original campaign. So what we usually do is we scale on the same campaign and same ad set. Okay, but we scale, this is the first step of vertical scaling. We scale one step at a time, usually each time not more than 20 to 30%, really depending on the budget that you're spending right now. But the safest bet is 20 to 30%, and each scale, you must give it at least 3 to 7 days, ideally, if you can, 7 days. If you need to rush, then 3 to 4 days is fine, but you really need to closely monitor because this is where things can get wrong, right? So yeah, but ideally 7 days. So let's say you scale for 20% from 100 to 120, for example, then we monitor for 7 days. What we usually do, aside from the cost per result and everything, we will look at the CTR, we will look at the CPM to make sure that everything is stable. And then if it's good, after 7 days, we can keep scaling until a point where you will usually reach, this is kind of quite interesting, but even if you have a big market, let's say United States, there will still be a budget ceiling whereby, for example, if you hit $500 daily spend, it's kind of like every time you push it, right, it will break. So this is the time where we start introducing the horizontal scaling, as in let's say now it's already 500. And then if we want to push it further, I want to spend more. What do? We kind of break it into multiple ad sets already, as in now, even multiple campaign. So now this is the ASC, right? The next thing I probably do is I'll probably break up another ad set with a new budget of maybe $200, targeting 25 to 34, which is one of the most best converting audience over there. So I will have another one, which is with all the exclusion applied and everything. I'll make sure that we minimize the overlapping to the minimum, and then we can still, kind of like scale. But this is horizontal, whereby we build multiple same campaign or similar ad set, but different attribution. So I could have male and female. I could have different age group. Okay, I could have one for IG, one for Facebook, but all of them carry the same creative that has been really working well for our campaign. So that's our scaling strategy. But having said that, here's what I always like to recommend. Before you start talking about scaling, you need to make sure that the whole campaign that you have here is optimized. Now, what do you mean by optimized? Meaning it's already running at its optimum level, and you'll be asking, I'm already profitable from the campaign. How can it be not optimized? It's totally possible. I've seen a lot of campaign that is having like 5 ROAS, 6 ROAS, or even 10 ROAS, but they're having 0.5 CTR linkage. You get what I mean? Meaning the creative itself is not really optimized because our benchmark is 1%. Imagine if I'm able to introduce new creative and bring it to from 0.5% to 1. That means I double, the effectiveness of the creative, and with the same amount that I'm spending, I'm able to get double the amount of clicks through the ad that I'm actually using right now. Do you think you can potentially get double to add to cart, double the result, or even double the purchase? It's possible. I'm not saying that it's 100% gonna be that way. And then, so that's one point of optimization. Now, the other point of optimization is that, you may have a lot of visits to the website, but eventually if you dive in, then you realize, out of 100 people who lands on the website, only 5 of them added to cart. That means our usual benchmark is 10 to 20%. If I'm able to improve the landing page and get more people to add to cart, do you think you can potentially get more sales, all with the same amount of ad spend that you are having right now? So that's what we talk about optimization, and it's totally possible. That's why my recommendation would be, do not scale a campaign before it's being optimized. So if you want to build an optimization plan, we can work together if that's already a point that you are at right now. So I do offer one-on-one Meta Ads coaching program where you and I would sit down, actually would first plan like a strategy. But eventually, the first thing I would do is I would dive into your campaign. I will look at the whole structure. I will recommend what are the optimization or even restructuring that needs to be done. And then we test one thing at a time. At the same time, we draw out a scaling plan on how do we want to take the campaign to the next level in a meaningful way. Like the other day, I was having a conversation with my client. They've been running a campaign that is targeting Switzerland and Austria for a long time. But then, like he was talking about like how can we take it to the next level? What was the easiest way to do here is with the same campaign, we just duplicate into different country. But of course, there are certain applications that you need to do. Make sure that like we have a lot of exclusion in place. Make sure that each of these ad sets or campaigns are not competing among each other. These are all the things that we would do. So we will meet once a week, okay, and then we will analyze the campaign and talk about optimization and scaling. Okay, so aside from getting you results right away, this is also meant to help you really get a real grasp of Meta Ads optimization in the hope of one day you'll be able to do this on your own. So if that's something that you're looking for, then scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you.